sure. Super easy. So you would compound and polish the boat, which would be your paint correction, right?
Right.
You would get it. You would get the oxidation out, in all oxidation out, and then you would polish it to look really nice, right? Nice and shiny. Just like a boat that you would then put wax on. Instead of putting wax on, you would now put the ceramic coating.
And how do you apply it?
So the ceramic coatings would be applied with an applicator, like a pad of some sort. So basically either a microfiber type pad or a block with, I actually like the micro suedes. It has a nicer look and also doesn't waste a lot of the product. But, and then basically you're applying this stuff in like 2 foot by 2 foot sections.
Ahoy! This is your captain speaking, Greg Michael of Pinnacle Marine Group, Marine Surveyors, and welcome aboard the Nauti Buoys Boat Show. I'm joined by Captain Happy, Glenn Shadbolt, Marine Mechanic and Shipwright. And aboard this vessel, we talk everything about boats. The build, the mechanics, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We go where the seas take us. The topics will be endless. Electronics, marinas, restaurants, vacations, cruising and fishing. Our show includes live callers with real questions. Let's fare these waters together. Call 772-773-2600 every Tuesday between 5 and 5:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're a guest or a caller, you certainly are naughty. Welcome to the Nauti Buoys Boat Show. I'm your host, Captain Greg Michael, Marine Surveyor, and sitting next to me is our beloved Captain Happy, Glenn Shadbolt, Marine Mechanic and Shipwright. And if you're a guest or a caller, you certainly are naughty. So some quick introductions. Glenn, say hi.
Hi.
That's all we get.
For now. What do you want? You want the square root of...
Shut up. All right. And we have Brian Clapp from marinedetail.com. Say hi, Brian.
Hey guys.
All right. He's here. So we weren't lying. You're really here.
We're here.
Okay, good. We'll get into everything Brian does in a little while, but first we're going to tell a little naughty joke. Is that okay, Glenn?
It's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you going to laugh?
I don't know. I don't know the joke.
Just tell me you're going to laugh anyway.
No, I don't do that.
You don't do that?
No.
You don't encourage me?
No. Encouraging is if nobody laughs, you need better jokes. So then...
He's going there, Brian.
It's not even there.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm just not allowed to tell my jokes on the air, so that's the problem.
No, you can't tell your jokes. You told the joke last week. We had to edit.
I wasn't in there. What was it?
Yeah, it was a bad one. Okay. Well, this one's short, sweet, so right to the point. Here we go. 2 fish swim side by side up a river when they swim smack straight into a concrete wall. One fish turns to the other and says, "Damn." Nothing?
Right? Good. Ba-boom.
Nothing?
Yeah.
Amazing.
But
Nothing?
you know what that joke needs? It needs the ba-boom. The old years ago with the drum.
Yeah.
The quick liner.
You need some production for that joke.
Yeah, we need music,
drums.
Yeah. Okay.
Because everybody tells a joke now that it's like 20 minutes. So if you're going to do a short one, you got to...
It might have made it better.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Maybe if I had the fish here. I don't know.
No, it was good.
It was good?
You just missed the drum beat, that's all.
Okay.
We'll put Sam in charge of that. We'll devise some drumsticks. Oh, God. Here
We'll get a drum kit here. Musicians.
No.
That's what we got to do. Okay. All right, guys. We're going to get into this right now. But just in a minute. First, I want to let everybody know that, again, the phone number to call in for live questions would be 772-773-2600. And the email is nautiboysboatshow@gmail.com. So call in or send in your emails, and we'll definitely try to get to you. We'll answer whatever we can, and keep liking and subscribing and building this podcast for us. Here we go. So, Brian, take us from the beginning. Where are you from? Take us on your journey. How'd you start? How'd you start in the business? Talk. Okay.
All right. So that's an interesting one. So we're from Houston.
Texas.
Houston, Texas. Been there most of my life. Mm-hmm. And really how we got to Florida was me and Natalie came to the Miami Boat Show. And we came to the boat show to not buy a boat.
Which you did.
Of course. And so we had a great day. We had friends that all came down from Texas. They all lived on boats. At the same time, I had a 60-foot Meridian motor yacht. So, and then I had friends that had sailboats that lived on their sailboats. So we decided to all go down to Miami together. So anyway, to just have a great 3-4 days of fun, And so anyway, we saw a boat that we weren't going to buy and bought it. And next thing you know, we...
What'd you buy?
Well, we bought a Johnson... it's called a Johnson 87. So it's a 90-foot motor yacht. And the idea when we bought it was to bring it back to Texas. And I thought about how stupid that would have been, taking it from this beautiful area back to Texas. So anyway, long story short, we talked to the harbor master, what is it called? The dock master over in West Palm Beach. Right. And told us that if you bought the boat, you could stay here because we were going to live on the boat and have an adventure for the summer. And with Natalie and her 3 children. Oh. So that was exciting. So we said, okay, bought the boat. Next thing you know, we're living on a boat.
Wow.
Yeah, in West Palm Beach.
So what were you doing in Texas? What was your business? What was your job?
I've been manufacturing dietary supplements for many, many years. Okay. So in the health and fitness industry. Okay. So and the business kind of runs itself at this point. It's been about 25 years that I've been doing that.
Oh, so you still do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to plug? You want to?
It's no big deal.
You're talking about vitamins. He's opening beers.
That's okay. I'm opening one too.
Why I'm here.
So
yeah.
Okay, so you got the vitamins, and you're on this big boat.
Yeah.
In Miami.
Yeah.
And you're having a good time.
In West Palm.
Right, West Palm.
Yeah, having a great time. An interesting story at Palm Harbor after we bought the boat. About 6 weeks after living on the boat with the family. Right. At this very, very prestigious marina, Palm Harbor Marina. Yeah. We got a note in our mailbox like, hey, you can't live here.
Really?
Yeah.
Can't live on the boat. So no liveaboards.
So I bought the boat.
Florida just changed that law,
with permission specifically from. Right. And anyway, it turned out to be a blessing anyway. So we were paying like $7,500 a month for the slip and electric or whatever. And then the problem came that now I have to move this big ass boat and put it somewhere. So we really were in love with the area, in West Palm. So we found our way down looking at Old Port Cove. We looked there. I was like, nah, that really wasn't our speed. Then there was a Jupiter Yacht Basin. Nice. And we just didn't like the fishbowl effect. There's no wind. There's condos, looking at you. And that really wasn't that great of a choice. So anyway, we found our way to Stewart at Sunset Bay Marina. Very nice. The guys there, all those people were amazing. So we hit it off instantly, brought the boat down. And
are you still there?
No, but we were there for 4 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
So that's how we brought us here.
And I think you told me you sold the boat now.
Yep, sold the boat, I guess, about 4 years ago.
Okay.
So anyway, that's kind of how I got in, to this whole situation. So
I'm right there at the deck.
What's that?
I could hit it with a rock at the deck. Where the deck
He keeps his boat at the deck.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were on D Dock. So we were on the very end of D Dock. The boat was called Fit-Nautic.
Oh, okay.
For our fitness.
Right.
So anyway, we're living here. It was like finding a diamond in a rough, and sold the boat after we had an amazing time here on the boat for 4 years, and bought a house in Palm City.
Oh, love Palm City.
And when we sold the boat, I kept the tender, the Zodiac. There's a little 16-foot Zodiac on the back of the boat on the hydraulic swim platform, and sold that. Sold the big boat, kept the 16-footer, and then I used that every day for years. Right. I mean, I drove that more than I drove a car.
Yeah.
So, and now to backtrack, on the boat, I'm an owner operator. We had a full-time captain, but that captain was basically to keep the boat clean, do things that I didn't really want to do that much. Right. And so one of the biggest problems was keeping the tender free of mold and mildew.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just a disaster. You know, you have an inflatable boat on the water, near the water, it's mold and mildew
Yep.
city. And once that happens, it starts to grow into the fabric. So whether it be PVC or Hypalon boat tubes, that mold is growing into those fabrics. So you
Right.
cannot just use a mold and mildew cleaner and it be gone. It doesn't really work that way. I wish it did. Instead, you have to use some pretty harsh chemicals like a liquid chlorine or something like that to clean the boat. So,
Which eats the rubber.
which destroys the adhesives. Yeah, they're not rubber boats, but like
Plus,
PVC.
it cost me. I'm up $105 a month for the diver to come clean my bottom.
So I'm
yeah.
sensing a segue into
How we-
ceramics. Right?
Yeah. So anyway, one of the hardest things about the boat, I know this sounds silly. You have a 90-foot boat. This is one of the hardest things. It really was the most irritating situation, keeping the mold off of this brand new white inflatable boat, right? You have,
Right, the tender.
You love your boat. Everything is perfect and clean, and then I have this inflatable boat that just looks like shit all
Well,
the time. So
you don't have the boat with the transom opened up, and you just bring the boat inside, the climate controlled thing.
yeah, with my 250 footer with Bill Gates, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go there every now and then, but you know. So anyway, we basically, I found that after using all the waxes, all the polymers, everything that every detailer gave me advice to do, nothing would work long term.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, after selling the boat and having the inflatable, I went to basically search for a solution that would stop this problem. And I got tired of destroying my seams, right, by putting all these chemicals all over it.
Right.
So then I found that there's, ceramic coatings. I knew nothing about them, but I found that ceramic coating sounded like a pretty good answer. So really long story short, went to an engineer, chemical engineer, and said, let's take a ceramic coating and make it for inflatable boat tubes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Right. So I literally just wanted to solve a problem for myself.
Right.
It wasn't for sale. I wasn't trying to
And
sell
you're putting this on inflatables?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Because
yes.
my inflatable is from the 80s or the 90s.
It's a rubber ducky. Don't.
It had the wooden floors with that black plastic
The
thing. I made new
slats.
the slats and everything.
I guarantee the fabric.
It
shot.
held water. It held air 10 years ago. I brought it with me, just with my boat and everything.
Yeah. No.
Could you ceramic coat that? Would that?
What, I don't really even know what kind of boat you're talking about.
It's really.
He's talking about a
inflatable
1980s inflatable with the wood slat floor.
80s, 90s.
Just, Brian, all you have to
inflatable.
do is say, Glenn, it's shot.
Yeah. I would recommend to buy something else.
No, it's gonna happen. I'll just have the bride keep hitting the pump. Come on.
As you're running down the river, she could just keep stepping on the air pump, right?
Keep her in shape, right?
Okay, keep her in shape.
Why
Oh
pay
my
for a
God.
gym fee?
So now you have this problem, and most entrepreneurs, get into business because they're solving a problem they have, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you're doing. All right. So tell me, you have ceramic coatings now, right?
Yeah.
So you go to this this scientist, and he develops
Yeah,
a ceramic coating for the
Right.
raft.
So the chemical engineer helped me create this product.
Mm-hmm.
That's flexible.
It is flexible. I'm at this point where the boat's been gone, for a year or so. The inflatable boat is, continuing to get trashed from all the chemicals I keep using to keep it clean.
Wood floor.
Yeah, fake wood there. And
My plywood painted grays.
so anyway, so where was I? So at this point, I'm creating the product for myself. I've been retired at this point for 4 or 5 years, and I'm young, retired.
Yep.
But I ended up spending a lot of time working on our new home after we sold the boat. I got our property looking really nice, so I spent all my time doing that. After the property was done, I'm like, oh man, I'm getting kind of bored, right? No more projects.
Right.
The yacht was an amazing project. The home was an amazing project. And then at the end of the day, everyone I showed this product that I created for myself, which by the way worked amazing, they would say, man, you got to take that to market. You got to take that to market. So that wasn't something I was interested in doing. I was loving being retired.
Yeah,
you know?
but boredom will get you. So yeah.
Yes, but boredom did get me. So I looked at Natalie and I said, hey, I think I want to start a business, and she was like, are you sure about that? And I said, yeah, let's do this. And I've been an entrepreneur for 25, 27 years, something like that. So I know how to do it. I've done a lot. I've created many businesses, but this business, I decided to go for it. So that is how we got into ceramic coatings. The interesting thing about this is when I decided to go to the market, I knew that I couldn't go to market with one ceramic coating, right? I couldn't go to the market. I guess I could have,
Right.
but that's not my personality. I'm kind of really out there. Right. If I'm going to do something, I'm doing it all the way.
Sure.
So when I created the ceramic coating for inflatable boats, I talked to the engineer and said, listen, we need to continue. So let's talk about for gel coat and paint, right? Of course, because that was the biggest use.
Sure.
And I said, and while we do that, let's get some formulated for glass and windshields. And then let's also do metal and chrome.
Nice.
Right? So now I had a nice selection of inflatable boats and vinyl cushions, windshield and glass, metal and chrome, and gel coat and paint. So then I said, well, we can't just have ceramic coatings and not be able to take care of them, because one of the most important things about a ceramic coating is maintaining the health of the coatings, right? They're not
How
magic.
do you do that? I thought that was like wax. You got to wax. So I thought you got ceramic because you did your car. Then you were done.
Okay,
just
well, that's
wash it. Wash and wear.
And what you're saying is exactly what a lot of people think, right? But it's like going to the dentist and thinking you don't have to brush your teeth anymore.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So there is what ceramic coatings do. If we go a little bit sidetrack here, is that they will make your boating life easy. They'll help maintenance. They'll help the boat will look great. Biggest thing is maintenance. Very, very little maintenance, right? But you still have to maintain the health. And if you have to use certain soaps, you can't use chemicals on the boat. Although ceramic coatings are chemical resistant, a lot of them. You just don't want to use certain things on there. You don't want to use abrasives because none of that is necessary, right? So.
I got to tell a story.
Oh.
Okay, here we go.
West Hampton. I don't want to say who it was. We're contender dealers. We got this beautiful contender in with this green hull, and I love green. The boat was fucking beautiful. So this person who was it nepotism, whatever, comes. I don't know what he used. It was so abrasive. It was like a soft scrub or something.
Oh boy!
He scrubbed the. It just needed a wash. It's out there in the front where all the boats are for sale.
So he soft scrubbed the boat.
Oh my goodness!
He ruined the boat.
He destroyed the hull.
Destroyed the boat.
There you go.
God. Yeah. Well, there you go. So you definitely don't want to do that with a ceramic coating. But
so you, not to interrupt, but so what you did was you solved the problem, plus the problem, plus the problem, plus the problem.
Well, what I really did was after I created the one, and then I created the lineup. I created the lineup because I didn't want to bring to market something that wasn't wow.
Right.
I didn't want to come and create an incomplete business, which is my problem, right? So, so then I created the products to maintain the health of the coatings, right? So
the soaps and everything else.
Yeah. So the black streaks, the stains, and kind of the all-purpose cleaners
that won't take the ceramic coating off.
Correct. So the ceramic coatings, the soaps, the all-purpose cleaners, and then of course I needed to create the products to help you apply.
The pads.
coating. Yeah, so I literally went and I manufactured my own applicator pads, my own applicator cloths, the prep spray before you even get to the ceramic coating itself. And then it got a little crazy. Then I started manufacturing the pad, like cleaning microfiber cloths, to actually clean with. And then it went one step further, and then I started manufacturing compounds and polishes, because you had to, of course, get your boat ready to before you ceramic coat
and all that. Right.
So again, it's a little bit nuts, right? So this is my personality really kind of showing through. So I started with one product, ended with 5 ceramic coatings, and I ended up with everything to maintain the health of the coatings, everything to apply the coatings. At this point now, by the way, this is how I'm in marinedetail.com, because I created so many products that it wasn't even about ceramic coatings anymore.
Right.
So, but an interesting segue into how I even got into the marine detail before we kind of get more into the ceramic coating side of things was during my on the ground phase when I'm talking to detailers. I'm literally cold. I haven't worked in 7 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the phone.
And you've never been a detailer.
Oh no.
And you've never experimented with ceramics.
No.
And you've probably never waxed that 90-foot boat.
I mean, yeah.
You didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
Right.
No.
So you know nothing about this stuff. You just said, hey, I got a problem with my tender and I'm going to go start a business because I'm OCD and I'm a narcissist.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
So now we got your personality.
Yes. That was kind of the easy part. The hard part was testing, getting in front of people, getting feedback, changing the formulas, changing everything. So I know that I just made it sound like it just happened overnight. It was a long, tedious process.
How much time? How many years?
I've been putting this together now for, I guess, 2 years, maybe a little over 2 years.
And costs must have been atrocious.
Costs were,
Yeah.
I've been blessed to get where I am here today, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
You throw money into this thing.
I threw some money at it, but I can safely say though that.
But you know what? Some people just gamble their money away. So it's instead of just going to Vegas, it's like, oh, I lost all this money.
You don't look like a Hard Rock casino guy. You look like I'm going to throw it into business. So that's good.
It's like I've had businesses my whole life.
Yeah. Well, I've done that too.
It's
I'm almost 50 now, so I've been doing pretty well for quite a while. So I've had all those experiences. So at this rate, I would much rather invest in a business and invest in myself, really.
Okay. All right. So let's get into some of these questions.
Sure.
First of all, I commend you on doing this again. I mean, you had one business that was successful. You come down here, buy a boat, and you kind of live and you say, oh, by the way, I want another project. So good job. Commend you on that. So
I will say that I wake up every day feeling like I kicked my own self in the nuts and I go, why did I do this? It's like, I woke up one day with an idea and I'm like, oh my God, I'm living this now. But I'm having a good time.
Yeah. Business is like that, ups, downs, ebbs, flows.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that. We've got a couple of businesses and same thing, but let me ask you a few questions. So let's talk about ceramic coating. So you would tell the listeners and the followers out there that waxes, the polymers, they're gone. They're done.
Oh, no. Waxes, traditional waxes like turtle wax, I don't know.
Yeah. Carnauba.
That's done.
It's all over.
That's done. If you're using that stuff, you need to wake up.
Right.
Okay. I can't even imagine with today's products that anybody would use those. The only reason why they would use that if they just have been living on their sailboat in the middle of somewhere and just have no idea.
Well, I still survey boats. I still go out there and see people polishing boats, and I look down, I see car wax, or I see a little 3M bottle, and I still see some of these waxes that I used 20 years ago, and go, what are they doing?
And I have to kind of retract something, because if you take care of your own boats, right, which a lot of people in the boating community do not, right? There's a huge portion that do. Detailers are, they're like lawn maintenance now. Exactly. So there's a certain kind of person that likes to maintain his own boat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I can completely understand that particular type of person that has been using something in his mind. It's been working. It used to be the best, when he had conversations about it to get him to the point of whatever he was using in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But with today's day, with the chemical technologies and stuff like that, you can, things have changed.
Right. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. The protection is incredible. You can, you can protect your boat a lot better than you used to be able to.
So let's just talk about something. So let's take that Johnson yacht you owned. Typically, who is your clientele? Is it the smaller boat? Is it the yacht? Are they ceramic coating 200-foot yachts? Are they ceramic coating? They are.
Oh, yes.
So they're doing every boat from your Hypalon tender to, a 200-foot yacht.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you're polishing or you're applying wax, Sir, thanks.
There you
Glenn.
go.
I'm back.
Good one.
Sir.
I just wanted to add that before when you were talking. You know what,
what?
my wife? I've been my own boss for 25 years, and you know what my wife always tells me? You have the worst boss.
Oh God.
No, I'm just telling you because you do this. You got to get up. You got all
Where's
these
the
problems.
drum?
Yeah,
Right?
we need
Where's the drum?
production.
No, it's true. You
We need
know,
the
it's
drum.
like you want to be successful. You have to have a horrible boss, and you are your.
By
own
the way,
boss.
Glenn, Brian and I were just talking. So
That's nice.
okay.
Yeah.
So, so they're ceramic coating everything.
Yes, they are. They are. Ceramic coating's been around, I think, now for around 12, 13 years.
Yep.
I would like the opportunity to say that me being a guy that's trying to really, really become an expert at all of this, it needs to be said that the ceramic coating, those of you out there who have ceramic coated or have heard stories of ceramic coatings going absolutely horribly wrong, those days happened.
Really.
Right. And so a lot of people go, oh, no, whether it be cracking or yellowing or just atrocious.
Well,
things.
does not for nothing, but like with the bottom, does humidity and temperature have a bit to do with it? You know, like when you want to do the bottom, you got
Just-
barrier coat, you got to do this.
Really, it's the technology. So very bad chemistry is what was going on.
Right.
But what I'm just trying to say is, does it have to be done? Certain humidity, certain temperatures, right?
No, it doesn't have to.
That's a very big window.
You can put it on, as long as it's not raining. You can,
Right.
you don't want to do it in the rain.
Boy, scheduling down here must suck.
Yeah, no.
Well, how do you prep the boats? Like I had my cars done, right? And they had to paint correct, and they had to polish, and they had to do this and that.
Yeah.
Then they applied the ceramic coating, and so is it the same process as a car?
Yes. So, and the reason why they did all that work first, right, is so when you put the ceramic coating, think of it almost as a clear coat, right? Yeah. So you're not going to put clear coat over a horrible surface because you're going to lock in that horrible surface. So if your car or your boat has scratches or is oxidation for boats, and you put something like a ceramic coating or a clear coat on it, welcome to what it's going to look like forever.
Right.
Right.
But do I not have to wax it anymore? Because I don't care what my
No.
boat
Well,
looks
if you're
like.
putting ceramic coating over a horrible
My
surface,
boat,
you
yeah.
probably don't care anyway. So
Yeah. No.
Well, I'm just saying because the boat doesn't come. I gotta pull it to have the bottom painted because they're complaining because the bottom paint's gone. So I got a 30 allure, the whole whatever. So if you ceramic coated it, let's just say this
Ceramic
old
coat what?
oxidized a 30-foot allure.
Okay.
Okay.
Not the bottom. He's ceramic coating the side.
The size, but what I'm trying to say is, if you ceramic coat the boat, do I not have to worry about sun damage anymore? Because I don't even wash the side of the boat. I'll hose it off sometimes.
Well, did you take care of the oxidation before you put the ceramic coating on? Because if you didn't, then the oxidation.
Well, then someone would just have to come and compound it.
It's just going to
That's what I'm saying.
amplify.
Yes,
Right.
well, it's not.
Right.
It's the
It's not
oxidation will
prepped.
continue.
Right. It's not
Underneath
prepped.
the ceramic coating now.
Right.
So now you have this barrier, this clear coat barrier.
That's why he's saying, Glenn.
So you need a nice new boat. Is what I'm
No.
telling
Oh,
What he's
boy.
saying is you have to do the prep work, like anything. You have to do the prep work, and then the ceramic coating will look good.
Correct.
And everything will work out. So,
So you basically you want to compound, you want to polish, you want to spend that money and the time to make it look as good as new as possible, and then you put the ceramic coating on the top, and then the award or the reward is that you now have this boat that will look near new for long term, a lot longer.
It'll shine at
all right.
night.
So just go through a 15-second process of from start to finish how you do it.
Sure, super easy. So you would compound and polish the boat, which would be your paint correction, right?
Right.
You would get it. You would get the oxidation out, in all oxidation out, and then you would polish it to look really nice, right? Nice and shiny. Just like a boat that you would then put wax on. Instead of putting wax on, you would now put the ceramic coating.
And how do you apply it?
So the ceramic coatings would be applied with an applicator, like a pad of some sort. So basically either a microfiber type pad or a block with. I actually like the micro suedes. It has a nicer look and also doesn't waste a lot of the product. But and then basically you're applying this stuff in like 2 foot by 2 foot sections.
Right.
So when you hear of the money that it costs, it's because it's not just the time, but it's also you're paying that guy who has the experience that can sit there and do 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot, and you trust that he's going to do it right. Because if you imagine if it's not done right, then now you have
welding.
You just got a screwed up boat.
If it's not done right, how do you get it off?
So you can obviously you want to research to who you hire, right?
You need patience. That's what I said. It's like welding. I actually went to welding school for a while, and you go back and forth the plate. And I just walked out. I was like, I can't do this. Patience.
Well, it's patience. It's also knowledge. You got to have experience. It's almost you have to spend time doing it, right? And to be kind of while you're learning, you have to be.
Did you know that women make excellent welders?
Oh boy,
where are we going?
No, because they have the patience.
All right, can we talk about coatings?
Yeah, just.
All right, relax.
I'm having a party.
Drink a beer. So,
well, when you start paying me, then
my question to you was before
Yes.
Captain Happy went nuts.
Yeah.
If I make a mistake, how do I correct it? How do I get off that mistake?
So, right, without getting into too much of the technical stuff, basically what it's called is where you have the mistake is when you apply it. You then have to wipe it, what's called a leveling wipe. So you're basically putting on this liquid clear product, right? Mm-hmm. And when you put it on, you then need to level it because, so if there's applicator lines or marks, right, from the applicator pad itself, all that needs to be basically knocked down and flattened. Mm-hmm. Right. And so then that's called the first wipe, right? So that it's called leveling. Mm-hmm. And then the second, right after you do that, you then take a different microfiber, something a little bit softer, and then you would basically polish that, right? To have that final look.
Yeah.
And then you let it cure. It's not a very, very difficult process. It's just that if you don't do it right, you're going to have some issues. Now, and what you didn't do right is if you did not level it, right? If you missed a spot, it can become a high spot, which is what the industry calls it.
I got it.
And the high spot then can become a problem because if you don't catch it soon, then it starts to cure. Right. And now imagine if you have, clear coat all over your car that wasn't leveled. Right. Now it's going to look like, total shit.
And I can imagine it's the same as like painting, right? So you might have a run, you might have a drip, so you got to catch all this stuff.
Yeah. So that's why it's taught in basically 2x2. Now pros, of course, will do 5 foot sections and stuff like that, but it's just really good to do a 2x2 foot section. You keep it in front of you, you do the section, you do it properly, you level it, you wipe it, you polish it, make you look good, and then you move to your next section.
All right. Now, Brian, I had my car ceramic coated. It was expensive, but I saw the little bottle, right?
Oh, yeah.
That he used, and that little bottle was $60, whatever it was. Why so expensive?
The chemistry, right? So it's not cheap. It's not. Yeah. The
what's a bottle of Meguiar's cost? I just bought Meguiar's. I have no idea. I do the wife's car. I wax
$12?
Yeah, $12, something like that.
So a thing of Meguiar's is only $12.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me an ounce size of your bottle and cost.
So all of my bottles, I sell them in different sizes for convenience, but I really only sell them by certain sizes just because it makes it easy for the retail side. But they all come in 50 milliliter bottles. Okay. Right? So if you buy 150 milliliters, you get 3 little glass bottles.
Right.
And so so you would just use one. You go through it. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now.
How much?
Oh, gotcha. So now the industry.
You're mesmerized by him.
I don't understand.
Even knew the question. I was almost going to say.
He's sitting there going, it's like looking at a train wreck, and I can't turn away. I get it.
A train wreck?
I'm with them all the time. I get it. I get it, bro.
For a party. That's all I'm asking.
So, how much for? Give me your normal bottle. One bottle. How much?
Okay, so. Typically, one of my bottles is about $62.50 or something like that.
Right.
I have a different business model, so I manufacture the product and I sell directly to the consumer.
So you're wholesale.
Yeah. So instead of going through wholesale suppliers who then give them to the stores, each one of those levels requires about 35 to 40% margins.
Right.
Right. I've been kind of doing this for a long time in my other business, that I like to go directly to the consumer. I like to control 100% of the process because I'm a little bit of a control freak.
Yeah.
And I like for the customer to win, right? So instead of, and no offense to the other stores and the suppliers out there, but I want to go from the manufacturing to the customer.
Gotcha.
And let them
Direct.
save all of
Oh,
that.
you don't want the
direct to
middleman to
consumer.
make money for doing absolutely nothing?
I really don't want them to make money at all. I don't know.
All right, so a little bottle, how many? Give me ounces. Milliliters doesn't mean anything to me.
Oh God.
Well, that's not what it comes down to. What it comes down to is, let's just say that a McGuire's cost me $15, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's selling this thing for $60. But I don't. That's why I don't have to wax my boat. So every time I wax my boat, plus labor,
Right, it's 15
plus labor.
Well,
How
the
many
labor is the hard
hours?
stuff, right?
Dude, I don't
the
even
cost
wax
of
my
product
boat.
is
I have-
nothing.
Right.
It's the labor.
Right.
The labor is
And
problem.
and give me the so $60 for a little bottle. How much does that usually cover? Small boat, 21-foot boat.
no. I would say so. And again, it would also depend on if you're doing just the hull,
Right.
or if you're doing the hull
just
and the
hull.
top side.
Yeah, just the hull.
Just the hull.
You could
Top
probably
size
get
is
away with about a 22-foot boat with
Okay.
my product. My product is a one application.
Okay.
The majority of the industry has a two-step application.
Right.
I don't really have an answer as to why that is, but
So I'm going to put this in a box. I got a 22-foot boat. I buy one of your bottles. It's $60. I can do my hull sides. How long does that last?
again, so that should last you. It always depends on the environment that you keep your boat. If it's inside, if it's outside,
Right.
if it's on the water, if it's in a storage, and of course where you are in the in the country or wherever you're keeping your boat. But typically with my products, my product is called a gel coat and paint 3-year, and the 3-year is for those people who are taking care of their coatings. Right. And
Right.
they're maintaining the product.
Right.
And they're taking care of it like on a schedule. For example, after 6 months, it's helpful, very, very helpful to use a maintenance product. Right. And
Right.
So now you would have that expensive application,
Right.
the very manual labor, but then every 6 months, you would just put a ceramic maintenance spray, right, or ceramic maintenance product, and you would spray it on the boat, and it wipes off very easy. So
And let me guess, you have that too.
Oh, of course, of course.
Good.
But what that is that's also ceramic coating, but it's in a water-based form.
Right.
Right. The expensive stuff is in a solvent-based.
Solvent.
And so after you've applied it, even if you paid somebody to apply it in the first place, the maintenance topper is something that you can do as a boat owner very, very easily, very cheap. I think mine is like $15-$16 or something like that.
Right.
And that's like a $50 bottle. That's how big the difference is.
So a guy who spends, $1,000, $1,500 for a guy to do his hull, he's pretty assured that thing is going to look really good for 3 years or so.
So again, with maintenance, it's better to assume that it's going to look good for 2 years, right? Because that's pretty standard, especially in this environment out here in Florida.
Right.
If you can get 2 years, you've got a great product.
Right.
We have a great product, but along with that great product, you do have to take care of it.
Right.
Use the proper soap, which is super easy, right? You just use a soap that
How
doesn't.
about if you just only hose it off now and then?
Well, hosing it off is actually that's pretty helpful, especially with a
Because
ceramic coated
if I'm
boat.
going to pull, because my hull is just, so say you take this oxidized piece of crap hull.
Don't even worry
faded
about it.
here, repairs. No. So what I'm saying is I want to haul it out every 2 years. I want to haul it out every 2 years to paint the bottom because they're yelling at me. So I got to haul it out, I'm going to wax it. The wax is only going to last 6 months.
Yep.
But if I have somebody come, compound it, wax it, whatever you got to do, if you put that on, and all I just want to do is hose it off after I go, hose the salt off after I go in the ocean.
So you'd want to use the proper soap. So
No soap. I don't soap the hull.
Well, then don't get it done. You have to maintain the boat. It's not
Well,
magic.
It's a silly question.
Yeah,
Come
so-
on.
It's
You
not.
gotta maintain
I
it.
use my boat.
All right.
But what I'm trying to say is I fish. But what I'm saying
This is where I
will
say
will
shut
the
up.
ceramic coating, if I hose the salt off, Does it need to be waxed? Does it need to be cleaned? Or with no chemicals?
It needs to be
at
cleaned,
all?
but not waxed.
Yeah, but well, no.
You don't wax ceramic
He says
coating.
hard chemicals hurt it. So if I put no chemicals on it,
No, they have chemical. Ceramic coating helps with chemical resistance, but it still is not. It's not a magic cloak that's just going to stop everything from happening. What can happen to a ceramic coating to stop it from appearing? And by the way, the benefits.
I don't care what it appears like. I just want to keep the gel coat from turning to dust.
Yeah, we already went through that. So he said you prep it, you ceramic coat it, you maintain it, and it'll look good for a couple of years. And then he has a maintenance spray, which I get, right?
Yeah, every 6 months. And basically what it is, it's ceramic coating in a water-based form, and you put that ceramic coating over your heavy-duty ceramic coating, and then that becomes the sacrificial layer.
Gotcha.
Right? So then the sun would be tearing up your thin layer that you've put on top of your ceramic coating. So again, that is going to help with long-term care of your boat. It is going to help your gel coat from oxidizing, and it's going to help your boat last longer, right? So if you've got a ceramic coating and it's taken care of, instead of getting your boat painted every 10 or 15 years, you might not have to do it for 30 years.
A question we got in through the emails too. I was reading a lot of them. Once you're past like 3 years or 4 years, right? How do you now re-ceramic? Do you have to strip it? Do you? No. What's the process?
So you would the reapplication is pretty simple, right? So it's already got a base of the ceramic coating.
Right.
One thing to make clear also is that once your boat's ceramic coated, you don't unceramic coat a boat.
Right.
Right. It's there.
Okay.
So even if you're sanding on it, right, it's still there's still going to be ceramic coating there, unless you just completely go way past
gel coat and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, what was the question that you just asked me?
So how do you reapply ceramic after, So
it's a simple process. You would basically use a medium cut, basically, and you would just polish. You would cut and polish that layer of ceramic coating, right? So you would level it. You'd clean out all the cracks and all the micro abrasions or anything that may have happened to the boat.
Kind of like lacquer.
Like varnish, right?
Yeah, so you just
lacquer or varnish.
Yeah, you'd flatten it, you'd smooth it out, and then you'd put your another application
and it would
again.
shine up again.
Yep.
So I think I have an idea for another business for you.
Okay.
Ceramic coating for teak.
So they're working on that.
I'm a genius.
Yeah, they have a ceramic coating for teak. I've actually played with that. As a matter of fact, I spent a lot of money creating a teak board that mimics the floor of a yacht.
Yeah.
And I thought I had something. So when I put different ceramic coatings on this teak deck, right, that I made, and it was amazing. It was amazing for about 3 to 4 weeks. And then what happens with teak in the weather is it breathes and moves
and oils.
And so all it's doing is contracting and coming back together. So the ceramic coating that held everything together, right? Yeah. It would just crack.
Yeah.
And then so all the hydrophobics and all that stuff that you thought you were getting protected from, it didn't work.
And teak is naturally oil, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
the oils will come through, and
there are ceramic coatings for teak. But
there's oil and there's that dry powder.
What's that?
They used to put the dry stuff on.
Powder on teak?
I don't know. Back when we were selling the boats.
Okay, shut up.
Oh, you mean to clean the teak?
No, you could either oil it. You could oil it, but the problem is when you oil it, it makes a mess.
Is your beer empty?
So they had that other tan stuff that you would put on.
Oh, sure.
Seal it.
So a sealant.
I wasn't the detail. I worked with the detailers for years, so I'm just saying there was two choices.
Okay, moving on.
How much teak have you done, Happy Boy?
I don't do teak. I survey boats. So anyway.
Maybe just the tiki bar. Is that all you do?
Now, okay, so I see your truck. I see your shirts. I see everything. You have all these different names, right? So you have Marine Ceramics, MC. You have Category 5. Yeah. Let's touch on all the little names and businesses very quickly.
Sure. So Marine Ceramics is what we started with. Then that quickly turned into Marine Detail because I started having so many different products. One of the problems when I was growing the Marine Ceramics brand is I was spending a year or so or more talking to detailers, cold calling and getting in front of them. I was giving away a lot of product. Can you imagine, you're cold calling these detailers like, yeah, we've heard it all before.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give it away. You know,
you have to do something to get them to listen, right? And one of the things that I realized real quick with ceramic coatings is a fringe product, right? It's not something that a lot of people are doing. Now, is the market big? I mean, it's pretty big, but it's not big.
Right.
There's not people.
There's a lot of ceramic coatings out there.
There's a lot of ceramic coatings. But so you spend your time to get in front of these detailers. And then I'm like, hey, I've got this and that and this, and here's all this. And then they go, well, yeah, but, do you have all this other stuff? Pads and polymer sealants and, and everything. Right, all these other things. They were more interested in the compounds and the pads and the cleaners.
So that's marine detail.
Correct.
So you sell all that.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. What's category 5?
So category 5, the first thing that I thought of when I was doing this was the one thing that these guys are using every single day, right? A consumable that I could get in front of them with, was a pad.
Oh, okay.
Right. So they're using foam pads. They're using wool pads. They're using them daily. These are disposable. So after, some people use them for a day, some people use them for 2 weeks. Some of these guys, they keep cleaning them and using them and cleaning them, which I think is crazy because you can just buy them for as cheap as I'm selling them. Just get a new one.
Right.
I got to back in the question, Dave, for you. So all the years, 20 something years at the dealership selling boats, all the detailers, they would mix their own compounds. Gary's would, So just,
They still do.
They still do.
Guys still. So some of the guys buy your stuff actually and like mix it with other, because the really good guys, and when because you'd be working on the boat at the dealership and then the details, and they would always bring on a jug with no markings. They would mix it. You'd be like, what's in there? I told you.
Yeah, I would think that would be expensive with ceramics, though. To mix a few different ones.
Those are the guys that
you would
know.
not want to do that.
Those are the guys that are putting...
Chemically, you don't want to do that.
Don't try to be a chemist.
Yeah, okay. So, category 5, that's where you make all your pads and things like that.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's our foam pads, wool pads, multi-purpose pads.
Awesome. So you're an all-in-one detail supply company now.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds great. You don't actually do the detailing.
I do not. And I have access to a lot of great detailers.
Okay.
So even on my website, marinedetail.com, it says that if you're looking for a detailer, give us a shout, and I can, maybe connect you with some good ones that I've done business with.
Okay.
Some that are fair but do a good job.
Great. Okay. And people want to get in touch with you. How do they get in touch with you?
Online, right?
Yep.
Or my phone number, 877-867-1001, toll free.
Nice.
Or email Brian at marinedetail.com.
And or just marinedetail.com.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on. We got some questions that we got from emails. First question is for Glenn. I don't even know if he's sober enough to do this, but...
Well, let's hear the question.
Okay.
This is like what was it? Drunken presidents or drunk? What was that thing they had? Drunken presidents.
Oh God, this is gonna be so bad.
No, it's not.
All right. Anyway,
it's a boat. I can do boats.
Question for Glenn.
Yes.
Pete M from Massapequa, New York. Massapequa. That's our territory. So Massapequa, you familiar with Long Island at all?
No.
Massapequa was a town on the south shore of Long Island. And we spent some time up there.
It was the big Fire Island crowd.
Yeah, it was kind of a money, but it was half. Back in the day, it was half Italian, half Jewish. So they used to call it Matzah Pizza instead of Massapequa.
Okay.
So, but we had good times there.
All right, money there. That's all you worked.
A lot of money there, right? So here's the question from Pete M. Mm-hmm. I installed 2 new bilge pumps in my boat, and they do not have the traditional float switches. I believe they call them now static switches. How do I test them before I leave the dock?
Well, what are they calling static? Is it the new expensive aluminum ones? The only way you could really check a bilge pump, when we were selling boats, so, we were a highway place and we were selling 40 boats a week. Before every boat left, you took a garden hose, you stuck it in the fucking bilge, and you turn the water on.
All right, so Pete, don't stick a garden hose in your bilge.
You have to.
No.
That's the only way to tell if it can really work.
Well, you could lift it up. Yeah, sure.
No, it doesn't have a float switch.
But it could
so these
suck
are the
air.
self-contained
ones.
No.
So now you're being silly. because
silly.
it could
You
suck
wanna stick a
air.
garden hose in a boat.
What happens if the bilge pump starts to suck air
Sure.
before it can shut off? It's going to run
Yep.
and blow the fuse and shut your battery down. Or if it needs a check valve, like all the Sea Rays have, it'll pump the water up. And then when it shuts off, the water comes back down, makes the flow come up, and it just goes on and off forever until it cavitates and kills
Well,
the battery.
when it cavitates is the
the only
problem.
sure way to check a bilge pump is with a garden hose.
Yeah,
whether
just
it's
sink the boat.
in or out of the water.
It
Everything
works.
else is bullshit.
It works as the boat's going down.
Bullshit.
It works. So
You're going to check
the static switches, by the way, usually have a dial or a button on them. So
To test.
Yeah, to test.
So if you're going to check
okay,
a water
Pete,
pump
please
with
do
air,
not put a garden
do you
hose.
check an airplane with
do
a shovel?
not
I mean,
put a
is it going to
garden
fly?
hose
I
in
don't know.
your
Hit it
boat.
with a shovel.
He does have a good point about cavitation, though. One of the problems that we had with ours is one of our sump pumps was angled strangely, and it would just cavitate, and and then it would just run, and then boom, it would pop, and then you wouldn't know it unless you saw a light that says it wasn't working.
A garden hose
And because
water.
the boat was rather large, did you take a fire hose and put it in the bilge?
No, I just crawled down in there.
Okay.
You're trying to check hydraulics
I'm
with
just
air.
listen. I'm just asking
I'm
him.
just right. Am I
Okay.
not right? You can't check hydraulics.
We're
with air.
moving on.
I'm
We're moving
certified
on.
Mercruiser hydraulics. This,
We're
that.
moving
It's
on.
all basics.
All right, this question's for Greg. That's me. Mike V. He's from Florida here. He says, I have an older boat, 1986 Mako 26. Don't you say a word. Don't you dare say a word. He's going to listen to this. So I have an older boat, 1986 Mako 26, that I have totally redone from the stringers to transom.
We had an 82
Stop.
19.
Stop.
We had an 82 19 with an 85 Evinrude with no
bad.
tilt. We had the handle.
All right, we're slacking time, so.
We're talking my stuff.
So,
Fine.
He redid the boat from stringers to transom, new fuel tank, electronics, upholstery. The engines are Suzuki 150s, and they are 2019s with 500 hours. My insurance wants me to get a survey because I want to insure it for more than the original $15,000. I have about $55,000 into it. Is it realistic to value the boat at about $60,000? Short answer, Mike, no. It's not realistic. It's a Mako. It's an older boat. I commend you on rebuilding it, but they don't have this transcending value, right? So it's not a refit on a yacht. Could you get money at new engines? Yeah, you could value that a little more. But for a structure of a boat, the insurance company's probably going to view it as maintenance, right? So your stringers are wet, you got to maintain them, you got to rebuild them. Transom's wet, it's cracking, you got to rebuild it. So this is all maintenance stuff. So although you've done that and you've put the money into it, it's probably going to be your boat for a long time. Could you value the boat instead of 15 grand, maybe 25 grand? Yeah, but you're not getting 60,000. So now there is an exception to that story. Let's say a 31 Bertram. Old 80s 31 Bertram. It's a cult boat, right?
Yeah, but you're paying $300,000 to get the thing rebuilt.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, if you had a 31 Bertram and you rebuilt that boat stem to stern, you're probably going to get a high value because it's a cult boat.
By a reputable...
If I rebuild an old Harley, right, you're going to get the money out of it because it's a Harley.
No.
So,
see, this is where you're wrong. So you
Okay.
want to do an old boat. You want the insurance on the Dream because I got a 64 Dart. The money you got into this thing.
he admitted
and it was
that.
just like...
Actually, on air, he admitted he
beautiful.
has a 64
I have a
Dodge
64
Dart.
Dart. And between the paint and the muscle and the money you got into this thing, and you go to the insurance company, they're like, no, we don't insure Dreams. This is what you're giving.
He's going out tonight cruising for chicks.
No,
So-
I'm not.
I can imagine that the reason why I
It's
don't
the
know much
Dream.
about
They don't
this, but
insure a Dream.
I imagine why they don't value those boats is because of all the fraud that happens in the industry.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of fraud. You can take it to a sailboat dock, take it, $60,000,
Right.
and
Sink
then
it. Dump, yeah.
and the insurance company's
Well,
not
it's
going
all
to be.
part of
happy.
the surveys.
And I do that every week. That's my job.
Oh,
I
that's
do
the
fraud
worst of
investigations.
the
So
surveys.
yeah, so
Well, no, you go to show
Part
up
of
a
this-
boat and they want to buy a boat for 130 and they were like, oh, we need you to write it for 150. It's like, do.
No, it's so I do a lot of damage and fraud work in my business. So I go to, it's always Miami for some reason, but I go down there and the guy sunk a boat, and here you go. We raise it, we'll inspect it, and 9 out of 10 times it's fraud. Wow. So yeah. So all right, we're gonna have a question for Brian. Brian Doug D from Galveston, Texas.
Oh, right.
I didn't even know you were from Texas.
Yeah, no, and actually, Kemah, which is where I had my 60-footer for 6 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I lived there.
Okay, so here's a guy close to you. Maybe he knows you. I don't know. Maybe he mailed you because he knows you. I have a 1997 28-foot Pursuit. The boat is chalky. How would you recommend I get the gel coat to shine again, and what would be the process? Also, do you have any instructional videos?
That's a good question. So the first thing about the oxidation is it's chalky because it's oxidized. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to remove that oxidation. Mm-hmm. Some of the problem is, what year was this boat?
97.
97. So just depending on the condition of the gel coat, right? If the condition of the gel coat isn't completely shot, you would grind out with compounds, mm-hmm. All the oxidation, polish it, and then it's a great time to start protecting it, right? So it'll slow down that oxidation, right? It'll protect it from getting worse.
Right.
And what a lot of people do is they wait until the last minute, and then they're like, oh, I don't want to have to paint my boat. And that's when they start scrambling to start doing surface correction, getting the oxidation out, trying to polish it, and then putting the ceramic coating on. Mm-hmm. But the first step would be to remove the oxidation, mm-hmm. And then to polish it up, mm-hmm. and then to put the ceramic coating on, and then to maintain, and keep it clean, maintain the health of the coating. Again, what that means is just keeping it clean with the right product, mm-hmm. the right soap, mm-hmm. Which is really all you need.
Right.
You don't need brushes with bristles. You don't need Dawn soaps.
Right.
You just need a ceramic wash, which is what I sell. Mm-hmm. It's a pH neutral soap. It's biodegradable. It's also, by the way, my soap is in my opinion, it's a better product than Salt Away to remove salt. So you would foam this on your boat, clean it, and basically you would just use a soft microfiber mitt to keep the boat clean, and that's really all you need to do.
So he goes to marinedetail.com and he just orders what he needs. Now, as far as the videos, do you plan on having instructional videos? Do you have any out?
I do. So I don't have any out now, but I definitely have plans. So
okay, good.
As you know, but your listeners don't, this is my first stop, right? So I've been building this business for maybe, I guess now, a little over 2 years.
Okay.
So this has been, you can't just come up with a chemical company and be like, oh, look, I got all the best stuff, right? So it's been 2 years in the making, and I am only just now poking my head out.
Okay.
So I've been talking to detailers. I've been giving my products away. I've been testing my products, feedback.
And you feel good about them?
I feel like I have the highest quality in the industry at the absolute rock bottom lowest prices.
All right. That's really good. Okay, guys, we're running out of time. This went really fast and it was really cool. I learned a lot. So I'm going to have you look at my car right after the show. But anyway, now we're going to do some tips. So I'm going to give you guys a tip, my tip anyway. Older boats are like older cars. You can restore them, but they'll never be new. So kind of keep that in mind when you're buying these old boats and you have that dream, like Glenn said, oh, it's going to be worth so much money after I'm done with it. They're just not. They're just old boats. So my advice is if you're going to keep something for a very long time and you want to restore an old boat, that's fine. But if you're looking to profit, probably won't happen.
Not going to
Glenn,
happen.
what's your tip?
Not going to happen.
Never restore an old car. Buy one that's already restored. Same with the boat.
There's a dart out here.
I restored my boat. I did pretty well.
He's got what year's your car?
64.
He's got a 1964 Dodge Dart, and he just said, "Don't restore an old car." We feel your pain, Glenn.
Well, I'm just saying, it's always financially better to buy one that somebody already spent, because if you have a dream, it's going to cost you so much better. You could have just bought something newer that started every time you touched the key.
Well, I can contest to that. When we bought the big boat, my retirement was me spending 4 years fixing everything. So it was my hobby. Now, you buy a boat to enjoy it in that way, it's the worst financial choice ever.
You don't make money on boats.
You don't. But I enjoyed every minute of it.
You know,
That's
I
your
work on my
therapy.
boat.
It was.
Yeah.
As I tell everybody, you know what my wife tells me? How can I miss you if you don't leave? It's like, I'm going to go do the taping.
We feel the same way,
I'm
Glenn.
Is this
gonna go
over
work
yet?
on the boat.
Yeah,
Is this over?
Okay, Glenn. I'm sorry, Brian. Do you have a tip?
The tip, I guess, would be to. I assume most people don't want to do the work to ceramic coat a boat properly. My tip is to call around, and better yet, to ask. Hopefully, a few people with some boats. To search for who is a good quality detailer, who's fair.
Good.
There's a lot of detailers out there that charge a lot of money, and I've seen them not be very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a lot of detailers out there that are struggling that have really fair prices, but it's hard to find a good detailer for a good price. So ask around, and don't just hire somebody, because the last thing you want is to have somebody put on a ceramic coating and it not be good. Because you're going to be calling around going, hey, how do I fix this?
Right.
After 6 months,
Nightmare.
your boat is trashed.
Nightmare.
And then it's going to cost you a lot of money to fix it.
Good tip. Great. All right, guys. So we're out of time. For marine survey information, we still survey down here in Florida. So you can call us at 772-773-2600 or go to our website, pinnaclemarinegroup.com. I would like to thank Brian Clapp for coming by. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Our producer, Jeeves, and production assistant, Samantha. I would also like to thank Chapman School of Seamanship for all they do in educating the future of the marine industry. Actually, my daughter is going to Chapman School this week.
Oh.
Yeah, she goes every summer, so that's kind of cool. And I am on the board of Chapman School, so we really try to support them. All right, so please hit that subscribe, like, and follow button. Please tune in every week for new episodes of the Nauti Boy Boat Show. Every week we will have exciting guests, informative news. May you have fair winds, following seas, and tight lines. God bless you, everybody.